At least 34 people have died in India after consuming toxic bootleg alcohol in the southern state of Tamil Nadu. Officials say the incident took place at Kalakuruchi district, where several residents fell ill after consuming the liquor on Tuesday night. At least 80 people are being treated in hospital for illnesses such as excessive diarrhea, and officials say the death toll could rise. 2 people have been arrested so far, and a wide investigation is underway. Authorities have also suspended a senior police official and 10 members of the state's Prohibition Enforcement Wing, which oversees the smuggling of illicit alcohol in the state, for negligence. Canada has listed Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terrorist organization. The move comes after years of pressure from Canadian opposition legislators and some members of the Iranian diaspora. According to the country's public safety minister, Dominic LeBlanc, the decision is a significant tool in fighting global terrorism. Thousands of senior Iranian government officials, including top IRGC officials, will now be barred from entering into Canada. But how is Iran reacting to this? The Foreign Ministry has immediately condemned the move, calling it unconventional step and an unwise decision. A quick check on the weather now in Cyprus, which has been battling a week-long heat wave. The temperatures rose to 40 degrees Celsius on Wednesday, forcing the meteorology department to issue a yellow warning. Health officials have also confirmed 2 deaths from heat stroke, while 3 people are said to be in serious condition. Residents have been cooling off from the extreme weather and spending more time at the ice cream shop.
I live in Cyprus. I originally came from England. I've been over here many years now. The summers are extremely hot, especially the heat waves, the previous heat wave, what we had on the weekend. It was very hard for me to keep cool. The only way is really cold showers and going to the beach, really, if you've got time, and staying in the water and hydrating all the time.
Sometimes, it's too much hot, like last week. That's why we close 12 until 4 o'clock. That's why sometimes it's too difficult. And nowadays it's good, but night time is normal, is good for us. And in daytime, summer, we have too much hot, so it's too difficult.
Scientists at the World Weather Attribution Group say human-induced climate change made recent extreme heat in the U.S. Southwest, in Mexico, and in Central America around 35 times more likely. A group had studied excess heat between May and early June, when the U.S. heat wave is concentrated in Southwest states, including California, Nevada, and Arizona. There were also extreme temperatures recorded in Mexico, which claimed lives during the period. Scientists say such a heat wave is now 4 times more likely than it was in the year 2000, driven by planet-warming emissions. Plus, that many extreme weather events, including heat waves, are becoming more frequent and intense as a result of climate change. Well, that could explain why many people in New York City are cooling off in parks and anywhere there's shade, possibly water. Authorities have already warned of the dangers of a heat wave as temperatures soar above 30 degrees Celsius. Temperature forecasts are already expected to jump higher than the mid-June average. New York City has not experienced such weather since July 2012, beg your pardon, it's 2012, during one of the most severe heat waves on record. The New York State Department of Health also put out an advisory for people to limit outdoor activity due to deteriorating air quality. The World Weather Attribution, the WWA group, studied excess heat between May and early June, when the U.S. heat wave is concentrated in mainly 3 states of California, Nevada, and Arizona.
stay really hydrated during this heat wave. Like, we're all drinking a lot of water. And make sure you're not in the sun for too long, or if you're feeling lightheaded or symptoms of heat stroke, you want to get inside and stay cool.
There's more people on the subway, which is annoying. There's more people outside because they want to be in the sun. And then everywhere is either people are really happy or really angry. So it's just emotions are higher, kind of similar to the winter, but opposite. It's just all extreme.
More than 4,000 people in Bangladesh have been evacuated to shelters as dozens of villages in the districts were hit by flash floods. The floods were triggered by heavy rainfall over the weekend, causing disruption to the Eid celebrations. Residential buildings, vehicles and markets were submerged in large volumes of water as locals navigated their way through the flooded streets. Local media says millions of people were affected by the floods. Road traffic across Bangladesh was blocked due to major flooding on major roads. Local authorities have also banned travel tours to tourist sites. Away from weather events in South America, millions of people have been left without electricity in Ecuador. A nationwide blackout occurred on Wednesday, caused by maintenance and transmission issues in the country's electrical system. It affected hospitals, homes, and major subway systems. The subway system in the capital, Quito, ground to a halt and traffic lights stopped working around mid-afternoon local time on Wednesday. Quito Mayor Pavel Munoz described the incident as major, which left millions of residents disappointed. Local media reported that access to drinking water was also suspended in some areas, with some residents expressing their frustration at the lack of warning of the suspension. According to the government, energy had been restored in 95% of the country as at nighttime. Ecuador's been struggling with an energy crisis for years. The latest saw Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa declare an energy emergency in April and order 8-hour nationwide power cuts amid drought that affected power generation. Bilateral ties. Japan and New Zealand have agreed to strengthen cooperation amid rising tensions with China. On Wednesday, both sides agreed on intelligence sharing pact that would enhance bilateral cooperation in security and defense. The decision came after Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida and his New Zealand counterpart Christopher Luxon met in Tokyo to enhance ties and address regional and global challenges. According to a statement from Japan's foreign ministry, the two leaders discussed advancing security partnerships, promoting economic resilience, and coordinating responses to regional and international issues, including North Korea and Ukraine. Kishida and Luxon welcomed progress in negotiations towards a Japan-New Zealand information security agreement aimed at bolstering information sharing capabilities between the two countries. They also highlighted their commitment to economic cooperation, emphasizing the importance of maintaining a free trade system and promoting economic resilience based on the rule of law. Japan previously signed similar intelligence sharing agreements with the US, Australia, the UK, India, and South Korea, as well as with NATO.
We talked briefly about Vladimir Putin's visit to Pyongyang and how North Korea is fueling Russia's illegal war in Ukraine. We discussed the importance of our work together to deter North Korea from advancing its nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles program. And with Prime Minister Kishida having just returned from the G7 and the Ukraine Peace Conference, we also started to discuss global developments, which we will continue over dinner.
We're in Sudan now. The United Nations says without swift action, the country risks becoming engulfed in more ethnic violence, and the risk of a conflict spillover remains high. Addressing the Security Council, UN Assistant Secretary General for Africa, Martha Ama Akaya Pobi, says a ceasefire in El Fasher is needed now to prevent further atrocities, protect critical infrastructure, and alleviate civilian suffering. Other officials who briefed the council also call for humanitarian access and protection of lives and property.
Without swift action, Sudan risks becoming engulfed in more ethnic violence and fragment even further. The risk of a conflict spillover remains high. From 16th April to 9th June, the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights documented at least 192 civilian deaths in El Fasher. Since then, dozens more civilians, including women and children, have reportedly been killed. Civilians are in the line of fire. Nowhere is safe for them. A ceasefire in El Fasher is needed now to prevent further atrocities, protect critical infrastructure, and alleviate civilian suffering. It could and should also pave the way for a broader scale cessation of hostilities.
We are in the race against time to avert massive loss of life and in this unprecedented protection and food security crisis in Sudan. We have three asks: to protect civilians and the infrastructure they need for survival, to ensure unimpeded, sustained, and expanded humanitarian access to people in need, and increased funding for the aid operation. But let me be clear, the ultimate ask is for this horrific conflict to stop. Meanwhile, UN High Commissioner for Refugees Filippo Grandi has visited Sudan. It's his second visit to the country since the outbreak of war last year. He's warning that without concerted peace efforts, many people will flee the brutal war into neighboring countries. Mr. Grandi visited refugee camps and displacement centers in Kotsi in Sudan's White Nile state, where over 1 million people have sought shelter since the fighting started.
We chose to be in this region during this important week for us, the week in which we observe World Refugee Day, because South Sudan and Sudan are two countries bound by history and which both have hosted refugees from the other country due to the multiple conflicts that have impacted all the people here. Let's be very clear. The civilians are the ones that have no responsibility, no fault of their own in this conflict, and yet, as so often happens, they are the ones paying the highest price. The biggest appeal that I want to make is to the military people that are fighting each other and reducing this country to ruin and to rubble. They have to stop. This war has to stop. Peace is the only solution so that we can help properly these people and all those to whom we have no access because of the war, and we can move back to peace building, to development, to a better future for all those that are living here.
Chad's President Mahamat Derby Itno has visited the site of an explosion that killed 9 people and injured more than 40 others at a military ammunition depot in the capital overnight. The explosion started late Tuesday at the depot in N'Djamena. The president thanked emergency responders during his visit, saying it could have been worse. President Itno said the fire caused human and material damage and an investigation would be conducted. Chad is a country of nearly 18 million people. It's been reeling from political turmoil before and after a controversial presidential election that resulted in Derby Itno's victory. He had led the country as interim president during the period of military rule that followed the death of his father in 2021. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has held bilateral talks with South Africa's Cyril Ramaphosa. The meeting follows the inauguration of President Ramaphosa on his second term in office, which took place the day before in Shwane, Pretoria. Both leaders spent time in the meeting, hosted by the Nigerian president, speaking on issues of mutual benefit.
I'm very much at home. Here to congratulate my brother for putting together a very, very impressive outing, particularly forming a government of national unity to stabilize the polity. And that is coming at a very challenging time for the rest of us in Africa to really come up with collaborative economics that will help our downtrodden and vulnerable people. That's all about it. That's what we have been discussing. Very much at home.
Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure to meet President Tinubu, and I felt very honored to have him at my inauguration yesterday. It was a moment that lifted my spirits and gave a huge encouragement to us as South Africans that the president of an important country like Nigeria, largest country by population on the continent and large economy, could come and be in attendance at my inauguration. It's a great honor and a really great privilege. And I feel at home as well to have this moment to have a discussion with President Tinubu on a whole range of issues. And of course, we've set up a government of national unity, and I'm particularly pleased that the African continent has responded very positively to the news that we will continue stabilizing the politics of our country, but more importantly, that through the government of national unity, we're setting a very strong foundation for economic growth and to be able to attract investments. But for me, what matters most is to be able to have very good economic links with Nigeria.
Presidents Bola Tinubu and Cyril Ramaphosa. Staying in South Africa, the Democratic Alliance has suspended its member of parliament after an old video surfaced online showing him spewing violent racist language against black people. Ronaldo Goose initially insinuated that it was a doctored video. He denied it by a statement issued by the DA on Thursday, saying it was genuine and not fake. And in the video, Goose, who was sworn into Parliament less than a week ago, uses a local slur typically reserved for black Africans repeatedly along with the N-word. The DA, which now forms part of the government of national unity, said Mr. Goose would face disciplinary charges. In a quest to advance paint formulations to eco-friendly coatings, industry leaders gathered for Coatings Africa in Sandton, South Africa. Coatings for Africa is a dedicated coatings event in Africa for raw material, service suppliers, equipment and paint manufacturers. Those in attendance say it offers an ideal setting for manufacturers, distributors, among others in the coatings industry, to engage in face-to-face interactions and conduct business across the African continent. Feel like you don't
Global
understand?
bias.
Our South Africa correspondent, Innocent Sabosa, has more.
Global buyers and suppliers are coming together to shape the future of coatings technology across the continent. A coating is a covering that is applied to the surface of an object for the purpose of being decorative or functional.
We have over 120 exhibitors. There's also the Business Presentations Hub, where we have 19 sessions. And Business Presentation Hub is a chance for our exhibitors to showcase their products, innovations and solutions to our audience. We also have a very exciting colour mixology competition that gives visitors the chance to try and match colours to meet with a certain desired colour, and there's some attractive prizes on offer for the winners.
However, one of the primary challenges is the volatility of raw material prices. Coatings production heavily relies on materials like pigments and solvents, many of which are imported. Brentech Business Development Manager Prashini Reddy says fluctuation in global markets significantly impact production costs and pricing strategies for local manufacturers.
Yes, I definitely see potential into sub-Saharan Africa, but also we need to find the products that are fit for purpose into the sub-Saharan market. So currently, if you have, I think the biggest pressure we have is price points. And if you're looking at value for money, we need to source the best possible products as a distributor for the local and the markets into the rest of Africa.
Iris Shu from Zhenjian Haishen New Material Limited shares the same sentiments.
The challenge is that when we're in China, it's very difficult to build trust. So I think it's going to be a good opportunity for us to come here to meet the clients and talk to them in person.
Despite these challenges, the head of marketing Engine Petroleum Southern Africa, Abraham Apani, says there are opportunities for growth and innovation within Africa's coatings industry.
The opportunities are quite good. Obviously, if you look at how we have positioned ourselves, particularly in the retail space, we have grown quite extensively. We're opening up new filling stations, so we're going to grow in that. And then obviously with the development of Africa, it opens up other market sectors like the chemicals space, where we can now start pushing some of our products there.
Well, as the sun sets on another productive day at Coatings Africa, one thing is clear. Entrepreneurs and exhibitors alike can only hope for growth in the industry despite all these challenges. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Innocent Samosa, Channels Television News.
The UN is calling for concerted global action to tackle female genital mutilation, highlighting that the worldwide fight against FGM is being undermined by having girls cross national borders and beyond to undergo the procedure. Although many states have intensified their efforts to eradicate female mutilation, the practice continuing across the world, especially in Africa. The WHO says more than 230 million girls and women alive today have undergone FGM in 30 countries in Africa, the Middle East, and in Asia, where it is practiced.
Female genital mutilation is a human rights violation, no matter where it is. There's no justification for gender-based violence against women and girls anywhere, neither on the ground of culture nor on the ground of tradition. But globally, it is imperative for states to protect women and girls from FGM in their countries and collaborate with other countries, including regionally, to prevent this cross-border or transnational FGM that this report focuses on. Female genital mutilation has no place in a human rights respecting universe, as the High Commissioner Volker Turk is quite clear on this. It must be eliminated in all its forms, and the gender stereotypes and patriarchal norms that anchor and perpetuate it uprooted.
As we end the program, the first black Jaguar cub born in Iran has been unveiled at the Savadasht Zoo in Alborz province, west of Tehran. Zookeeper Ali Jihadi says for the first time in the country's history, we were able to breed black jaguars, continuing it's a male cub and in good health. The keeper was seen petting the cub, which is yet to be named, with tourists flocking to see the latest arrival. Jaguars are native to the Americas, while just 11% of them have the black coloration. This cub's parents are the only pair of black jaguars in a zoo in Iran. And that's the world today. Thanks for watching. I'm Amarachi Ubani.